Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome back to some more Let's Play Rayman 2 The Great Escape. Last time we made our way through Whale Bay, and in this episode we're heading into what is considered the longest level here in Rayman 2, the Sanctuary of Stone and Fire. Welcome to the Council Chamber of the Teensies. Splendid! You got enough lumps to pass through. Prepare yourself to discover a new world. In order to gain access to the Sanctuary of Stone and Fire, you need at least 300 lumps. Come on, don't be shy. So here we are. We are in the longest level here in Rayman 2, the Sanctuary of Stone and Fire. There's a lot of stuff for us to do here. And the first thing we're going to want to go ahead and do is drop down here to read this sign. Warning, a labyrinth. If you get lost, contact Robo-Rooters immediately. So that right there tells you why this is the longest level in the game. There's so many different paths that you can take. Most of them are really only for lums and cages, so if you're not going for 100%, this level isn't going to be nearly as long, but this is still going to be probably the longest level for you in the entire game. Since there's just so much for you to do, so much for you to go through, and this level is probably one of my least favorites in the game just because of its length. It kind of overstays its welcome near the end, that's for sure. Once we jump onto this here, you actually see there's a cage below, so we're going to need to actually backtrack to get that. Can't really do anything with it for right now, so we're just going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to go ahead and shoot this bandage here, and that will reveal a purple lum. So let's go ahead and shoot that, and swing over here to this one little area over here with that one lum. Then we see another bandage we want to go ahead and shoot. So we'll shoot that, and now we'll head back over to where the purple lum went. And this will not only grant us one lum, but it will actually grant us a new item here in Rayman 2. This here are golden fists. Collect one grants you 3 golden fists, and essentially what this does is it doubles your attack power. So now, when we attack pirates, we do double damage. These don't last forever though. Once you take 3 hits, the golden fists are gone. So you want to be really careful when you're using these. But just to demonstrate the power of the golden fist, let's go ahead and charge up a charge shot on this guy. And would you look at how much damage that did? That almost killed him. So that's why golden fists are so useful here in this game. They do so much damage in such a little amount of time. So whenever you find yourself some golden fists, you want to go ahead and grab them. And you also want to be very careful when you have these things not to take too many hits, as you won't really find that many of these golden fist powers in each level. So these are kind of rare, essentially, in some levels. Some of them more common, like this one, there's a couple golden fists I can think of, and that's because this is the first level in the game where they introduced this concept to you. So right now, there's going to be plenty for you to use, but later on, you're not going to have that many opportunities to get yourself some golden fists, so grab them and use them when you can. With this plum, we actually want to go ahead and ride it back over to this little alcove. That's the introduction right there of plum riding. In this section, they just expect you to use the plum just to jump over as a platform, but if you stay on top of a plum, you can actually ride on top of it, and in doing so, you can ride on top of lava. So we're going to be doing that later in the level. I actually tell you how to do that later, but if you're going for all the lums, you need to do that right now. But in this section here of the level, you can actually throw one of the plums here on top of this guy's head, and now he's a platform, but it's pretty hilarious to see. And it's just, I love doing that. They're a platform, now they won't attack you, but they just look so stupid now with that plum on their head. And unfortunately, I can't bring a plum back with me, so I need to go ahead and go back for another plum. And this is one of the problems I have with this level as well. There's a lot of backtracking and a lot of unnecessary running back and forth just to get to a new area. So if you're going for all the lumps and cages here, you're going to be just hunting around for quite some time. It gets pretty annoying because of that. Let's go ahead and grab another plum. And now we're actually going to be riding this plum all the way back over to the beginning of the level. As in the beginning of the level, there is actually a little alcove that we can get into if we were able to ride on something like this. So now that we have a plum, we can go ahead, head all the way back over to the beginning, and on our way we'll grab one lum heading into that cave. And there hopefully should be a cage in there, so we'll see. We will see. Whenever you're riding on one of these plums, whatever direction you're shooting, then you'll be propelled in the opposite direction. So since I'm firing behind me right now, that's propelling me forward. It works vice versa. So if I just turned around right now and shot forward once, it will try to push me backwards. It won't stop me. So there is a little bit of momentum on these plums, but not that much. And that's really useful to know for later sections. But there we go, we made it to the cave. So let's go ahead and grab that plum we were just using and throw it right on top of that spike. How did that miss? It was right on top and then just bounced right off. I've never seen that happen before. I've never seen that, because what's supposed to happen is that when you throw the plum, it's supposed to lock on to the spike. But instead what happened was it just bounced right off of it. That's a first. Right here you can actually throw this plum here to these other spikes, but they won't stay forever above you. They will drop the plum after a while. I think it's because they retract in a bit, which is enough to force the plum to move. So you don't have that much time and you gotta hurry. But right here you actually need to use the plum as a platform. That'll grant you access to this little cave over here. And with that, we got ourselves a cage, and that makes 40. We have half of the cages in the game now, 40 out of 80 cages, so that's a milestone right there. Let's go ahead and make our way out of this cave now, as I don't feel comfortable staying in here anymore. There's a lot of lava that can kill you. There's two types of lava in this game, and the plum can only ride on one type. There is this type over here that we entered in, which has a texture to it, and then there is the pure red lava. You cannot throw a plum in that lava and then ride it. If you throw a plum into that kind of lava, the plum will just disappear. So the only kind of lava you can ride in is this kind of lava I'm on right now. That lava that is just pure red is just a hotter type of lava, which is why you can't really use the plum in that section. So that's understandable. But there will be sections later on where they'll combine the two types of lava, and you gotta be really careful to not force yourself into the wrong type, because then you will die. So you want to be very, very careful. Let's go ahead and grab that checkpoint just to make sure I don't lose any progress here. And let's make our way actually now forward into the level. Let's not backtrack anymore, let's actually go forward. Because this entire time I'm going to sections that are not required at all. So if you're not going for 100%, you didn't have to do anything I just did. If you're just playing through the level, you can go ahead, jump onto this plum right here, and then just make your way across this web. That's what they think that most first time players will do. They'll just use the plum as a platform and then just jump right off of it. But at that section you can actually use the plum and ride it around, which is what you need to do if you want to get all the lumps and cages. Stupid black fuzzballs in the way. These guys can blindside you, and the camera in this game isn't the best, so if it doesn't turn fast enough, just listen. If you hear one of those things nearby, shoot. Most likely he'll be right in front of your face, so that's why you want to go ahead and attack the second you hear one of those things around you. Like this one, right here, he caught me off guard. And he made me lose one of my golden fist hits, that's not good. I want to keep those as long as I can. You guessed how to climb on the plum, and move by shooting in the opposite direction. If you want to grab it, stand in front of it. You can throw it in the air by just pressing that jump button. or thrown in front of you by just pressing that shoot button. The plum lets you move on lava as well as water. And why not stick it on a post? When it's far away, shoot it to make it move. Don't hesitate to use it against your enemies. So pretty much everything Murphy told us there, minus 2 points, we've already learned. So we already know we can go ahead, throw it up in the air, we know we can shoot, we know we can go ahead and ride around on top of the plum. So Murphy's hints there really wasn't that helpful. It's just the 2 things that he told us of you can use this on water, and then if you shoot a plum, it'll make it move. Those are the 2 things that we didn't know already. So if this plum was just sitting down on the ground, I could shoot it and now force it to move. And that's going to be useful for a later section here in this level. As for the water part, we won't be dealing with any water here, since this is the Sanctuary of Stone and Fire. So don't expect to see any water anytime soon. Well, this section of the level I'm in right here is completely optional. You do not need to come in here if you're not going for 100%. But if you want to get all those lums and cages, you're going to need to go through this part of the level. And this is where the level really does drag on if you're going for everything. So there's that to keep in mind. But in this section here, we're going to have a lot of areas where we need to be really careful with our platforming, as they throw a lot of fire at us. There's a lot of lava we gotta deal with here. And there's gonna be these pillars that I'll have to shoot down just to make platforms. Like right here, I can't move on unless I shoot that bandage. That will cause the platform to drop, and that'll give me some space to move around. And right here, you gotta be really careful. You gotta make that jump at the precise height, otherwise you won't make it. Also be careful right there with the fire, don't just walk directly into it. I think I've done that one playthrough. It wouldn't surprise me if I did, honestly. But here we just have a nice little waiting time. It's good because it gives us a little break in this level, which is always nice to have. So I can just imagine right now, you guys already know how long the video is just by looking at it, but I imagine this is essentially going to be the meaty part of the entire Let's Play. So yeah, I'm not going to stop this episode midway through a level. A lot of people when they're doing this, they go ahead and stop midway through and have essentially 2 videos of this section. And of course, I jump right into the lava like an idiot. That's fantastic. Can you hit the spider from here? Kind of. My shots were homing in on it at the last second. Well, let's try this again. This time I'm not jumping into the lava. But most people, whenever they make a Let's Play of this game, when they get to this part, they actually make a separate video for this, and that's just because this level right here, it's pretty long, and having 2 videos for it, one for each section, essentially, that's what a lot of people do. Some people break it up when they get into here, some people break it up after they leave. But it's usually around this point when people, for the most part, have this area split into 2 parts because of how long it is. I don't want to do that because I never really like ending a video midway through a level. If I can avoid doing that at whatever cost, I try to. So if this is going to be a meaty part because of that, then so be it. Oh, what the heck just happened there? I think I hit the fire when I was trying to grab the platform. That's probably what happened, but I was right there. I saw the stairs and I was about ready to jump towards them. But nope. I slid. Let's try this again, this time without falling off. It'd be great to not fall, especially in lava. One of the last places I would want to fall, because that would really hurt. Speaking of hurting, I'm so glad I hit the green lung before I made it into death. Over here, if you climb up the stairs to the left, there's nothing, so let's just go ahead and move over to the right here instead. Let's go ahead and break open this wall here in the center. Gives us a cage and some golden fists, which is really good because I lost mine from earlier. Let's grab these lums to refill my health a bit. And let's go ahead and break open this wall here and just start charging up a fist, because right behind it is a big old spider. One charge shot with golden fists kills it immediately. That is why I love this power up so much. It's so overpowered. Also, as you saw once we got in here, the door behind us shut, so we're trapped in here now. We are required to go this way now. But then again, once we entered this section of the level, we were kind of required because we were locked in. Alright, but we head down over here. We got ourselves a shell, and this is probably the hardest part of the level. Because with this shell, we are actually able to jump now. Because before, when we were in the Menor Hills, we were either able to do one of two things. We were either able to jump off the shell entirely, or we were just kind of hopping with the shell. But in this part, we can actually jump with the shell. If you press the jump button, not only will Rayman just kind of hop in the air a bit, but the shell will jump as well. So we're going to be needing to do this to cross over pits like this one right here. And you gotta be really careful when you do that, because when the shell jumps, it jumps in an arc. And it's really easy for you just to jump and then hit the ground and die, because the shell arcs its way downwards. So you gotta be really, really careful how you jump. And then moments like that where you're too far in the air, once again, the shell will arc downwards, causing you to die. This section is probably the hardest just because of that mechanic alone. It's very annoying to get through without dying because of how the shell controls. It's not really that difficult in terms of just making it through, it's more or less difficult making it through without dying. And this section right here, I always like to boost when I'm in the middle platform and then jump, because I feel like I make it more often compared to just jumping. I feel like if I just jump at that part, I just fall off the edge and die. And unfortunately in here I lost my golden fist, which is something I really didn't want to lose here, but I figured it was going to happen. And whenever you go through this loop that I'm going through right now, they always give you red lums, so you can't really game over in this section as long as you make it to that loop, because they always refill your health. But it is easy to die here. And this is the last final stretch right here. You want to make that jump, and then right at the end the shell will blow up. That's a first. I've never had that do that before. What you're supposed to do here is when you get to this section, jump off the shell and then blow open the door. Luckily, it's a door that you can break open as well, so you don't necessarily need the shell. Once you get through that section of the level, you'll be spit back out right here actually. If you remember this part from earlier, we actually came into this part of the sanctuary from earlier on, like a few minutes ago. So once you go through that cavern there, it'll spit you back on top, and that grants you some lums. So you need to do that entire section just to grab those lums, and I recommend you go this way first when you get to that branching pathway. As if you go down, you'll be going to the required part of the level, and if you go too far, you go to a loading zone that causes you to miss this part entirely, and then you have to replay the level just to get these lums. Here they spit you right back out to where you need to go afterwards, so going here first is the wise move. And camera, can you please move? Thank you. Now that we got everything in that top section, let's go ahead and make our way down here and go the required way. I'm gonna go ahead and jump right here when we get to this little entryway. And get your charged fist ready, because that pirate that was shooting us is gonna walk right down here. Is he? He's not? Okay. I did a test playthrough this earlier, he did, so I don't know what's with him now. Well, there he is, he's just taking his sweet time. It's so weird. There you go, he's dead. Seriously, don't know what to think of that pirate. He chased me last time, and this time he just decided to wait. Maybe he just wanted me to come to him instead of the other way around. Maybe he's a lazy pirate today. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising, but it's still weird. Alright, but now that we got that cage, let's just go ahead and jump into this little cavern here and get ourselves that checkpoint. And that music change is really ominous. Oh, what the heck is that? Big old eyeball on me, go away. So here essentially is a game of hide and go seek. This guy will always try to hide from you, and he actually kind of functions on Boo logic from the Mario series. Don't look at him, and then he'll come chasing. So essentially what you're going to be wanting to do here is whenever you shoot him and he's hiding behind a corner, turn around, and then he'll pop right back out from the corner and try to attack you. Try to keep him in your camera at all times for this said reason, but he can't be too far away from him, otherwise he won't come out to attack. And you need him to come out to attack you in order to deal damage. And if you had your golden fist for this part, then he wouldn't really take that many shots to kill, but since I lost him from earlier, I kind of do this a long way. With this music that's playing, we heard from the Cave of Bad Dreams, so that piece of music's making it return. And also that camera change really didn't help right there because I couldn't see him coming to the last second. That was really bad. If that guy gets too close to you, he will lunge after you to attack, so run away when he jumps. Otherwise, you're gonna lose a decent amount of health from that guy. But once we kill it, we get a plum, which we need to use that plum in order to get out of here. That jump that I just made is just high enough that requires the plum. If I didn't have that plum, I wouldn't be able to reach that jump normally. So that's why we have to kill that guy. And over here we got ourselves another lum. Got ourselves a red lum that restores some health. And once we jump onto this platform here, it just breaks apart. I guess that's a fat joke for Rayman. Maybe he's just too fat. I'm not sure. It doesn't look fat to me. I mean, he looks pretty small. But the reason why that happens is because that part of the stone is very fragile. It's just sitting there. So once Rayman stepped right on top of it, it broke apart. And to my knowledge, there's no way to get around that. And even if you could, I'm pretty sure there's an invisible wall there. If there is anything past there, I'd be very surprised, but I doubt there is. Oh, please give me that lum. Thank you. This is when they start introducing the concept of mixing the two types of lava when you're riding on top of a plum. So you need to be really careful now when you're riding on top of the plum for the red type of lava, which is essentially an insta-kill for the plum. It can ride on top of the lava has the... Oh man, I can't concentrate because I'm trying to live. Because this section right here kind of screws with the camera. I'm not sure why it does, but sometimes you can go around a wall and then it'll get lost behind you, so I'm trying to be really careful that not to happen. But now they're going to start mixing those lava types, so you can go ahead and ride a plum here in this type of lava mon now that has the black chunks on it, which is essentially supposed to be like rocks, I'm guessing, as well. And that red type of lava, which is pure lava, that will kill the plum immediately, which if you touch any type of lava as Rayman, you die. So you gotta be really, really careful of that. Luckily, when you take a hit on top of the plum, it doesn't kill you, it doesn't push you off, it just hurts you. So luckily, oh, that always tricks me up. I can never see that there, and I almost always get killed there. But that always makes me just hesitate in the end too. Where was I? Oh yeah, as long as you take a hit while on top of the plum, it won't kill you. You just have to be careful now to not essentially get hit and then not be able to control yourself, which will in turn push you into the wrong type of lava. So you gotta be really careful of that. And right here we gotta be really careful because they throw a lot of the two types of lavas here, so we gotta be really careful to avoid this orange lava. It's actually more orange. Before when I said red, I don't know why I said red. Oh, I knew that was gonna happen eventually. Whenever you're around the orange lava there, that will happen, where it will just kind of trap the plum and it will disintegrate even if it doesn't touch it. As long as it's close to it, then it will get destroyed. The hitbox on that lava is pretty stupid, so you gotta be really careful when you're surrounded by this stuff like I am right now. But let's just go ahead, head around the corner here and get into this little alcove as fast as we can. Okay, good, we're in there. I was afraid that we would have, well, got sucked in by the other type of lava, but we didn't, which is good. Now this section right here is really stupid because the camera doesn't really follow Rayman, so really pay attention to the shadow here. If you don't see Rayman's shadow above web, then make sure you don't drop like a rock. I've done that a number of times in this section because it's really hard to see Rayman's shadow, especially if you're further up. It's really, really hard to see it. Turn the corner over here and we got ourselves our final cage. So there we go. That's all the cages here in the level. And once we jump off that platform, we want to go ahead, turn right, and we'll make it over here. That right there just skipped us going back for the plum, which is really good. And this section of the level, I don't like. It's just annoying, honestly. What you need to do here is you need to grab this sphere, and you need to take it with you to the very end of all these platforms. As once you get through here, and then a little bit further into the level, there's going to be a pedestal for this thing, and you've got a lot of ways to go with this one sphere. And the worst part is they throw some fire at you to trick you up, but then they throw these stinking things, which is what really gets annoying because they come all over the place. They just don't stop coming. And there's so many of them. They're so annoying to deal with. They're fast. This is why I don't like this part, because these stinking black fuzzballs, they're so annoying. They're not hard to deal with. They don't hurt much at all. They're just annoying. And they'll cause you to drop that sphere, and if you're unlucky enough, you can probably drop into a pit. So you gotta be really, really careful about that. But in case you didn't get this sphere at all and you skipped it or you lost it and couldn't go back for it, they put this purple lum here. And that purple lum goes all the way back to the very top of this area. So if you need to go back for the sphere, they make sure they put that purple lum there for you, which is good. But we got a plum here all the way on the other side of this room. So this is when that trick that Murphy taught us about will come into play, where we need to go ahead and shoot a plum, which will in turn make it move. And that's really useful to know for this one section. You don't really use it all that often, but this one section is that one time you're probably going to be using that mechanic. Well, that's pretty much it. We made it to essentially the end of this big stretch. We just got some black fuzzballs here to deal with. And what I usually like to do right here is I just like to throw the sphere in front of me and then attack the guys, because there's really not that much harm throwing it in front of you like that. I'll place onto that platform over there, and now that door over there will turn, revealing a different hole. Takes you to the exact same location, but you need to do that, otherwise you won't be able to open up another pathway, and we'll see what that is once we go through that area. So let's go ahead and make our way over here and go through that door that just spun around. Let's go to the top of it. Now the bottom of this door takes you to the same location as the top does. It takes you right back out here. It luckily gives you a lot of health and also drop you right on top of a checkpoint. But if you entered that door via the bottom pathway, then that switch that you just saw for the door up ahead, that wouldn't have moved. That door would still been the bottom path, which is the path we just took. Since we entered through this room via that top door, the door switch there moved, which in turn lets us go the top path this time, which takes us to an entirely different room. While that door we went through takes us to the same location, this one now is going to take us somewhere completely different. And this essentially gave us a second chance to get that cage as well as any other lums we may miss in this section, so that's good if you miss any of the lums your first time around, but once you enter that door, then yeah, you're not going to be going back there unless you really want to, because I believe you still can once you get back to that main hallway we were in before. But I'm pretty sure that you're not going to be doing that, and there's really no need to, honestly. But now in this section, we need to go ahead and slide down and chase that purple lum. That purple lum there is what's essentially going to be saving us at the end of this section. As once you make this corner over here, you'll see that, well actually it's not this corner, it's probably the one coming up. Well, you see in this corner there's a lum. So there is one lum you need to worry about on the sliding section. Right here, there is a pit full of lava. So if that purple lum wasn't following, well actually other way around, we weren't following that purple lum and it wasn't moving forward, then we would have died. We need that thing to swing across. But this purple lum here actually floats down to the center of this room, which essentially allows us to get back to the top, which is very, very good. Because we're going to be throwing this, since we need to put on the blue pedestal over there. But once it's on there, we actually want to get back onto the top area over here. And you'll see why here in a moment. I actually want to go ahead and see something here really quick. Is that open still? Yes, it is. So if you really need to go back over to that section of lava we were in earlier to get that cage you may have missed, then you still could. Same for that final section we just went through. But there's no need, especially since we already have everything over there. And once we throw that blue sphere on top of the switch there, we see Umber is now alive and ready to move. Umber here is the guardian of the Sanctuary of Stone and Fire. But unlike the last guardian that we had to deal with, this guy is actually a friendly one. He doesn't kill us. Essentially, all we need to do with Umber here is we need to go ahead, jump on top of his head, just like so, and he'll take us across this lava pit. As this is the kind of lava we can't really ride a plum on, so there's no other way for us to get across. Using Umber here, however, he will go ahead and walk down until he sinks to the very end. Luckily, it gives you enough time to jump off. So thanks for the ride, Umber. See you later. In other versions of Rayman 2, I do believe there's actually a boss here, but not in the N64/PC version. And also, before you walk up those stairs any further, grab this lum here on the side, as that's the final lum, and that one can really trick up first-time players. But we did it. We made it to the very end of the Sanctuary of Stone and Fire. And with that, we're going to be getting ourselves our second mask. You have found the second mask. Good, Rayman. You're getting closer to your goal. Just 2 more masks, and I will awaken. Be careful. The rest of your quest will be even harder. So there we go, half an hour later, we are out of the Sanctuary of Stone and Fire. And we have ourselves a new bonus level, so let's go ahead and mash our way through it just like always. So these are going to be the bonus stages we're going to be running into from here on out. This is essentially the hardest version of the bonus levels here, as now Baby Glowbox decides to take the most stupidest and yet longest route to the very end of the stage. Essentially here, in the beginning you saw Baby Glowbox jumping around the lily pads, then he swims through the water, jumps up to the side, and then he continues from there. But why does he take such a big detour in the beginning is beyond me. But just like always now, the bonus stage is going to be a little bit longer, so be prepared to mash for a longer period of time. There we go, we made it. 35 seconds is not too bad for that kind of long run. And with this we get ourselves some more health, just like always. But starting with this level, we get ourselves golden fists at the end. So now we have even more of a purpose to actually do these bonus levels if we are granted access to them, which is really, really good. Golden fists are very useful. What the heck's happening with the save screen? Oh man, I really hope my game doesn't crash again. That'd be terrible. I don't want to have a repeat of what happened in the marshes. That'd be just nasty. Even though I'm at the end, I saved my game. I still don't want that happening. But now with that long sanctuary out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. So next time on Let's Play Rayman 2 The Great Escape, we'll head into our next level here, the Echoing Caves. I'll see you guys next time.